Welcome back to the Breeders' Cup News Minute presented by Adequan. I'm Scott Jagow along with Ray Paulick. Our news today is that all over the country you have horses putting in their final breezes for the Breeders' Cup, which begins next Friday, from California to Florida, and of course at Churchill Downs, the home of the Breeders' Cup this year. Today we had some notable names there. Wonder Godot preparing for the distaff, Oscar Performance, he was actually a Keeneland for the mile. Then you have Bravazzo, Lone Sailor, and a horse I'm really looking forward to seeing, Serengeti Empress, the very impressive winner of the Pocahontas by 19.5 lengths. She'll be in the juvenile fillies.
Yeah, and we've got, it's something to look for tomorrow with Bob Baffert's contingent, including classic contender West Coast, will be working at Santa Anita tomorrow. I'm not sure if it's tomorrow or Saturday, but his big horse will be going out there in the next couple of days. So workouts are very key at this time of year. The final preps before the big races, very important to watch. You can see the works online. It's something that we haven't had the pleasure of doing that for that many years. So it's great to be able to watch these horses have their final preps.
The other thing that's going to shake out in the next few days is of course, the fields. And we talked about how many of them are oversubscribed. So we have to get it down to the actual field where we've got all of these also eligibles. And there's a lot of moving parts, particularly when it comes to the Classic and then the Dirt Mile and Sprint. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, the Classic, it's not that often that you have an oversubscribed Classic, but this year there's several horses that are on the outside looking in. And, the way it looks like now, Bravazzo, who is an also eligible, he's going in the Dirt Mile. But a horse that's in the body of the field, City of Light, probably is going to be going to his first preference, which is also the Dirt Mile. That puts Gunavera into the body of the field, it looks like. And a horse named Seeking the Soul, who won the Clark Handicap a year ago now, is the first, looks like the one who's on the bubble, the outside looking in. He likes that track, we know, Dallas Stewart training.
And he could get in if Mind Your Biscuits goes in the Sprint. It depends on how you interpret trainer Chad Summers' comments in recent days. First, it sounded like he was definitely going to go to the Classic, but maybe a couple of days ago you heard him kind of say, I want to win a Breeders' Cup race. And the best chance for Mind Your Biscuits might be the Sprint, because there's going to be a lot of speed in that race, and it sets up his closing style. Closers have done well in Breeders' Cups at Churchill Downs, so I think Mind Your Biscuits might end up in the Sprint. And speaking of the Sprint, that race in the Dirt Mile, you have some of the same horses. I don't think we're going to get full fields in either one of those races because of how things are going to shake out.
Yeah, you've got horses cross-entered in both races. It looks like the Sprint and the Dirt Mile might end up with something like 10 or 11 starters in each race. And I don't know if the trainers are basing any of their decisions on the weather, but the weather over the next week is a little iffy. There's a chance of rain this weekend. As Breeders' Cup Day approaches, I think both Friday and Saturday, they're talking about chance of thunderstorms either day. But at least it's not going to be freezing. Breeders' Cup, right now, they're calling for temperatures in the high 50s and lower 60s.
Yeah, it looks like maybe Friday and Saturday we get 65, which is a huge blessing if that happens, because we've had 40s before at the Breeders' Cups at Churchill Downs. The weather in Louisville is so fickle, though. We're talking out of turn here. Let's just wait and see what happens.
Yeah, we're a week out, so it's too soon to say.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Breeders' Cup News Minute presented by Adequan. Talk to you tomorrow.